All right, guys, should you be copying exercises from social media? And if you are, what do you want to be considering? I think this is a good topic to be talking about. Apologies, by the way, if my voice sounds a little bit different, just a little bit of a chesty kind of cough thing going on. So if I sound a little bit deeper than usual, then it's only because of that. But social media, like the incredible benefits that it has brought, to the training world, to the endurance training world, the access it's given us to, and the insights in terms of navigating injuries, to getting back to finding your best performances, giving you more access to people, to better experiences, to more adventure. It's undeniable. There's so many benefits when it comes to your training, when it comes to your injury rehabilitation, when you're trying to gather resources and better understanding of how you can improve yourself, whether it's nutritional, whether it's strength and conditioning, whether it's run programming, etc. It's something that we have an abundance now of. You could sit there and doom scroll for hours looking and kind of trying to work out what the best exercises are for you, the best methods you should want to be following. I think first and foremost, when it comes to copying exercises off from social media, the most important thing is to be treating them as ideas, not as kind of professional advice. This concept that you're building an understanding, these are just ideas that have been put in front of you. So session ideas, if you're up at the track, you're out on the trail, if you're in the gym and there's new kind of barbell exercise, there's a new plyometric drill or kind of run warm up exercise. These are all good ideas. That's probably one of the most important thing you want to be taking into consideration from day one, from the moment you start, sort of absorb this information. Because as we kind of go through this, it's only coming from a place of care that I talk about this. There are incredible accounts out there to be following in terms of understanding more about certain injuries, rehabilitating certain issues, coming from people who are amazing professionals in their own right. But we also know there's a lot of people out there who are just very passionate influencers, who have maybe had some personal success, and then they're just taking that and they are great marketers. They're good looking individuals. They present well, and have built a business off the back of it. What I want for you guys is to have this ability to be able to have your own personal filter, to be able to go, right, love that, but does it work for me? And I think this is where I want us to be able to kind of talk about. So, understanding in a nutshell, is the movement safe for you? Is the source of the information coming from? Are they qualified? Do they have actual experience of working with people with that certain movements? Someone who is just prescribing, showcasing lots of different exercises, lots of different run sessions, but has never actually put that into someone, who's never actually been in the room, been up at the track, been out on the trail with that person, with people in general, with your demographic, for instance, and actually seen whether that's effective or that's a logical sort of thing to be doing. That's always questionable in this day and age. So understanding that there is this significant kind of gap at the moment where you could present an idea, but then the actual context that is put in, that's, a lot of people have never actually trained a human face to face. It's always been from that virtual environment. So when we start thinking about this, it's, the benefits of from social media is, it's a great motivator. It provides a great insight into where you want to be heading with your training. There are so many kind of positives from understanding this, but it's not getting caught up in that and understanding that some of the major issues with this is that, it's starting from the top, these exercises are being, you're applying these exercises not knowing fully whether they are going to be suitable for you. There is lack of individualization, and some people can kind of roll their eyes when they hear this, because how bad can it be? But if you put certain types of exercises into an untrained body, you can overload it very, very quickly. As a coach, when you've worked with the whole range, a whole spectrum of beginner through to advanced kind of endurance athletes, runners, cyclists, swimmers, and people that have never stepped foot inside a gym, to those that have been in a gym for the last 20 years, you've still got this understanding where when you start to prescribe work to someone, what's their background, what's their maturation age, what's their training experience, what's their injury history. All these things are super important when you start to put work back into your body. The exercise you're seeing, they don't like you take them off face value and start just dropping them into your session, there's a risk. And this risk versus reward is something we really always want to be taking into consideration. Like, are you at a place in your own training, in your own level of experience and confidence in your training ability, whether it's a running and riding, or whether it's strength and conditioning, to actually perform these exercises well. So understanding that there is a timeline to a lot of the exercises that you're watching, where actually there's numerous progressions leading up to it. Working at 80% of your 1RM with a back squat, like, that is a wonderful thing to kind of be throwing around and saying, yep, you want to be working towards that. And, you know, seeing someone performing 5 sets of 5 at that level of intensity. But what you haven't seen is the 6 months before that, where they've kind of taken it from a bodyweight squat to a goblet squat with dumbbells or kettlebells, to then learning how to work with a barbell, to then conditioning their body, their technique, they're making sure that they're rehabilitating our previous injuries, lack of mobility in their joints, to then getting to a place where they start to load 4 sets of 8 at 60% and building to that place where they can lift heavier loads. Same thing with plyometric drills. You see someone jumping up onto a box with one leg and you're thinking, wow, that's a powerful, explosive single leg exercise. I need to rehabilitate my left leg. That could be a great exercise for me. That is so far down the continuum of plyometric progression, like jumping up onto a box with single leg. Like, that's literally, that could be 2 to 3 months down the line for some people. Your ability to jump up and down the spot without fear, without pain, with relative symmetry, without land like a bloody elephant, that is level 1. Can you do that? If you can you do it with a single leg? Can you then jump and hop horizontally, broad jump, single leg hop? Can you then jump up onto 2 inches, onto a 2-inch height? Can you, like, do you know what I mean? There's a progression to all these things. So it's seeing it as a good idea, but at what time would you be placing that into your program based off your own skill set, your own kind of levels of tolerance and even injury history? Some people significantly lack power and strength and conditioning in parts of their body due to previous injuries, due to the sports that they play, or the activities that they do a lot of. So yeah, it's just understanding that there wants to be a filter there. The way the individual or person is to demonstrating the exercises or performing it, understand like the nature of who that person is. Are they well trained? Are they oversimplifying a complex movement? A burpee, all right? Like a burpee, a dumbbell thruster, a dumbbell snatch, doing warm-up drills up at the track. You've done A-skips with great symmetry, great power, doing hurdle work, so working over hurdles as a kind of your pre-run kind of warm-up up the track. Some of this stuff is really complex. Like it takes a hell of a lot of coordination. You gotta like really kind of work on drilling these mechanics, and to then just throw your body into these types of movements and behaviors. You're inviting overload. You're exposing these areas of weakness that we all harbor. Some of us have lower back hip mobility issues. We've got previous injuries through the calf, the Achilles, the ankles, the hips, the knees. Like, if you want to create an injury, you would be throwing those types of exercises and drills straight into your program with no thought. So it's to understand that there's a continuum. So understanding that the person you're watching could be highly trained, or they are genetically gifted to a certain degree, where they are just able to move really well. Again, the lens is you. Like, how do you move in front of the mirror? Like, how are you moving? And so it's reducing the load, reducing the intensity, building it up. And it's just, hopefully it's logic, but it needs to be said, because the last thing you want to do is try to integrate some of these exercises in and get injured. Like that. And again, there's no comeback on that person who's influencing you, is prescribing that. And myself included, if you guys are following my social media account, when I'm doing all these different videos and things, I am consciously thinking, am I promoting something that could be achievable to the demographic that I want to work with, to yourselves? I want to work with you, but I want to impress you. I want to kind of excite you, and I want to show you how you can move past pain and improve your performance, but not at the expense of inviting injury and setback and blowing your legs up so much that you can't run the following day. That doesn't help anyone. So it's that integration piece as well. All right. The source of the information, and I'm kind of flirting around with this, but the level of education, the level of experience they have, the results that they have, you want to be working. It's that the quality of the resources that you're working from. Like, so much of it's superficial. Like, just see through it. You guys know it. Like, I don't need to. I'm not going to lean into this too much, but like, there should be like a nice stream of like evidence, where there's case studies, there's success stories, there's a depth of like, you're working with someone who actually is a profession, not just a pastime, like a hobby. Like, you want someone who's got to have that level of detail, care, consideration, that is programming, like spends their days programming, and actually working off feedback, like looking at the detail, analyzing your individual performance off the back of these certain exercises that you're starting to bring into your program. Where do you regress it? Where do you progress it? Like, all those things, there's a big difference, and that comes with experience. It comes with working and understanding where those kind of reputable sources come from. And it's professional health, it's professional health practitioners, people that are qualified, they're working in these kind of training spaces. The most important thing you guys would be worth thinking about when you're watching all these different exercises is keep stripping it back to the basic fundamentals. Like, are you training those major muscle groups? Are you working on those obvious weaknesses that kind of get overloaded? If you're a runner, it's lower body, it's single leg, it's below the knee. You've got to be working on your mechanics and strength and conditioning through those areas. You're running, you need to be making sure that you're working on that repeatable quality, good technique, good power, good speed, good levels of consistent cadence and position. Like, anything else is kind of just like, it can be important, but it's also just distracting you from the relentless basics that you want to be keep reinforcing on a week-to-week basis. So there's always going to be the kind of the fluff and the stuff that's entertaining. And I've said this numerous times in the podcast, like, a great program will have entertainment as much as education. Like, you want to be educating the body to get stronger and fitter, faster, and go longer, but around it, to keep someone bought into the program, bought into the process, you entertain them with the extras around the outside. So that is what a lot of social media can bring to the table, which is like a lot of the extras, the stuff that actually can almost distract you from the bread and butter work that you want to be doing. And obviously, just having a better awareness of what you need, guys. Like, understanding, listening to your body, having a better intuition as to what you need to be working on the most. Having great conversations with coaching professionals that can really help you understand what you need to work on, so that that's going to help you filter what you are then watching. So when you're looking at, you can flick through some of the stuff that is not relevant to your sport to a certain degree, or not relevant to what you need right now, but then you can dial in on the quality. I've got no issues. I know all of my RSFE crew have got, they're reading, watching, they're hungry to be better. So they're on YouTube, they're on Instagram, they're on all of it. But what I always want for them is to have a better filter. What am I looking for? What do I need more of? What do I need to understand better about? Fueling, recovery, progressive, the progression of their S&C exercises. And they'll come to me with certain exercises. I'm like, yep, love it. We can bring that in, but let's make sure you can do X, Y, and Z first, so that you're ready to do more. Like, I just brought someone found that they can't lift dumbbell, the weight with dumbbells and kettlebells now. They've got to a point where they need to be bringing it. They want to work with heavier weights. Barbells are going to come into the conversation, and we want to be able to help her understand how to use barbells, start lifting a bit more weight. But again, there's just that you want to help bridge that gap, and so it's always part of the conversation, and always should be part of the conversation, because that's what great a coaching relationship's all about. But guys, just going right back to what I said at the beginning, like, these are great ideas. Social media is full of fantastic ideas that you can then start to filter and bring into your program. We do live check-ins every week, and as part of that, I'm always looking for ways to trigger conversation within the conversation on a week-to-week basis. Nutritional, recovery, how you can improve different areas of your training. Social media is fantastic for that, to a point. When you want to be bringing certain things in, what you should be focusing on the most right now. Some of you, it's biomechanics. Some of you, it's getting past injury, building a tolerance to high volumes of training again, fueling better. Some of you, it's inviting more recovery into your training. Like, there's different elements at different times, but again, that just comes with good conversation, guys, and that should be a part of your program and moving forward. So social media, love it, but having that personal filter, knowing what you need to be kind of working with, hugely important, and something that you will evolve with time. All right.